appreciate your tenacity in order to find time for us to.
Oh, no problem. I think it's important. Before we get started on the chat, I wanted to just let you know that I'm recording our conversation so that I can pay attention to what you're saying to me.
No problem.
Cool.
I'll let you know. We will announce. I have to get off the phone probably 5 minutes before the
That's
hour
fine.
because I'll go and announce our transaction to all of our coaches. And so that's
Oh, wow. Yeah. I think we'll be done in about 45 minutes anyway, so you'll have some time for that. Perfect. I don't know what context Carrie gave you for why we're chatting, but just to let you know, I mean, we're working with Carrie and the team to help develop the brand positioning for the new Torch EverWise brand, and really then that leads to some a video that might be used for investors and key messages down the line. And as part of that process, one of the first things we do is to talk to stakeholders like yourself. So
Sure.
I've spoken to Cameron and Keegan and Carrie and everyone, and JB yesterday. So perfect. So if you could start, Eric, by just telling me a little bit about you and your role at Torch.
Sure. I'm responsible for our customer success and our coaching operations.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means that the fulfillment of the service sits in the hands of my team. So we own the relationship with the customer after the deal is closed. Our customer success folks, they're both customer success and customer service oriented. They're also oriented towards the craft of coaching and how do you leverage coaching in order to help individuals and teams transform. And then we have the part that's responsible for hiring coaches, building a community that's about coaching craft, making this an exciting and engaging experience of them building with us, making this a place where they can grow their business, but also their coaching craft, feel a part of something.
Okay.
And so, like the mission of the team is about customer delight, as well as leadership transformation.
Okay. And how long have you been at Torch?
1 year.
Oh, perfect. What made you come to Torch? Like, what about Torch excited you?
Sure. If I give you a hint as to like some of my professional background,
Sure.
I worked in startups in the early .com era. As a very junior person, as a strategy consultant in the for-profit world, Latin America and the U.S., and then worked in the social sector. It's like Gates Foundation, Gavin Newsom, poverty, education, and homelessness.
Okay.
And then was a healthcare operational builder for 7 years working on preventative care stuff. So I'm very interested in aligned social businesses that can scale. So how do you address a mission that matters for people, often almost always about their growth, usually historically about a disadvantaged population? And how do you tie the way you make money and the way you execute with excellence to that? How do you do that in a way that's also transformative for your team? This is the stuff that I care about. Mm-hmm. I took a sabbatical in 2016, was a meditator, climber and surfer for a year, and I'd had some great coaches. So I came back, I was wanting to connect to presence in my work and trained as a coach, and Cameron was my coach. As I was coming back and saying like, hey, how do I be a builder again in a purpose-driven way and connected to presence and how do people grow? So he worked with me on my way to building a coaching practice with a very high-end consultancy, and then reached out to me, a little more than a year ago to say, hey, would you help build? The thing that attracted me about Torch is that, I'm a builder who wants to be building in a world of operational excellence and mission. And I'm a coach, so I'm very interested in fundamentally how do people expand and grow in their efficacy, in their results, but also in their awareness of self, awareness of others, and in their health. And so the gist is Torch is an opportunity to build an environment that delivers excellence in that craft and that transformation at scale through software tools and coaches.
Perfect. And you mentioned the idea of a mission and sort of attracted you. What would you say is the mission of Torch?
Yeah, I've heard Cameron recently verbalize it as build more conscious or enlightened leaders, enable people to make that change. The other shorthand that would have come before is leadership transformation. How do people expand in the ways that they want to expand? Part of the reason I care about that is I care about them, but I also care about their impact on everybody else. And so leaders are positioned in a way that they just touch so many folks in the world and affect whether business is a cancer or whether it's an expansive thing that makes the world better.
Yeah.
But that includes the little ripples they put out to all the people that they touch. With Everwise coming on, that expands, right? I'm giving you the language of leader, which is torch legacy. Mentors working with folks throughout the whole organization. That's powerful for them to be able to grow and expand. It's the same spirit. It just expands. Can you go to work in this modern economy and have that a way that allows you to have a fulfilling experience that lets you grow and succeed, that lets a whole school of fish move together in a graceful way.
Yeah. And that leads me to the next question, which you started answering, which is, what does Everwise bring to the table? What is the capabilities they're bringing, and what is the new kind of Torch Everwise brand?
Totally. So one of the things, the people, they're great people, and there's an alignment of who we are, what we care about, the way we work together, the humility, the orientation of service, the discipline. If we talk about the market, we go from being very focused on leaders to position to serve the entire organization in a credible way, in a way that I think can be differentiated. There's also the piece of I think they're further along about having a real SaaS platform play.
Okay.
So selfishly, it means there's an opportunity to have something that's more permanent and higher margin, but also there's a deeper change that's possible. If we're providing a software-enabled service to people at all levels of the organization, that's cool. That can be turned on and off easily. The beauty of a transformative L&D platform is you can actually build tools that help L&D be more effective permanently.
Okay.
And so that's kind of you have that, and we get better and better. Like, how do you build programs, deploy them at scale, measure your efficacy, and we've got amazing things that plug in. Yep. Marketplace, courses, coaching, mentorship, blah, 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 blah.
And how important is that measurement piece to you, or do you think it is to your customers? Because we've been talking to some buyers, we've been talking to employee end users as well, and at least the buyers, they are sadly having to prove ROI of L&D programs. So how important do you think it is, that sort of measuring it includes a component where you get to measure the efficacy and you have some data that you can help maybe sell in or sell up the need for this?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's valued. And I'd say one of the things that makes L&D investments, they move with the economic cycles, relates a little bit to what's the influence of HR. And there's a piece there, there's a gendered piece to that. It's just like, what's the level of respect and investment that's been there? But another piece that it relates to is what's the level of quantitative measurements that people can really compellingly tie the health of the business to those investments. I think the kind of status quo is you have to have a certain amount of measurement, and yet people don't expect the kind of rigorous measurement that's possible around an investment in sales training, or around an investment in an operational cost reduction initiative. And so there's an aspiration to higher levels of measurement and a tacit acceptance that it's not as good as we would like. And so my sense is, if you can credibly move the threshold, like, you've got to meet what's expected, definitely show engagement, definitely show that people liked it, definitely point to something in the realm of like, it seems pretty effective. I think one of the reasons why there's an expanding amount of investment in the space is when labor is tight. Let's say engineers, they're competing for really high quality labor, and you get something that they really like, and that also there's lots of qualitative evidence that they're better.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck it, we need to keep those people. Pardon my friend.
No, it's okay.
So that's a little bit of the story, but if we could materially push the threshold of measurement forward, I think we've taken steps in that direction and not fully realized that promise. You literally could turn on more aggressive investments in L&D, empower that function, and have a bigger TAM. I don't think we've done that yet.
Okay.
But I think we're positioned to go in that direction. I think we're on the threshold of that.
Okay, perfect. And then you started by telling me you're a coach, and obviously, Everwise has mentors. From your perspective, is there a difference between a coach and a mentor?
Yes. The gist, and then the way Everwise does it blurs it a little bit, and the way we do coaching blurs it a little bit. I'll give you the purest point of view. Purest point of view of mentorship I think about, gosh, I want to be a CEO one day. And so I go find a CEO to tell them about their experience. Now, if they're doing a good job, they're going to listen to me and follow me because they got to decide when to tell me